And recording. Okay, Kritika, you can start.
Oh. Am I visible?
Yeah. You are visible. I have spotlighted you, so you are visible to everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the following series and the sixth session of the discussion on the book Ancient Wisdom by Annie Besant. Today's session will be about chapter 4, the mental plane, part 2. So let us sit in meditation. Oh, hidden life, vibrant in every atom. Oh, hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness, may each who feels himself as one with thee know he is therefore one with every other. Come back, everyone. Thank you for joining. Our speaker for the day is Brother Pradeep, who will take up Chapter 4, The Mental Plane, Part 2 of the book Ancient Wisdom by Annie Besant. Brother Pradeep is a master's in biotechnology, working as a business manager for an organic products company and also a professional consultant for hydroponics. He is a third generation theosophist who was introduced to theosophy naturally since childhood. He became an active member since 2002 and has been giving various lectures at various theosophical lodges in Karnataka as well as in Young Indian Theosophist Group. I welcome Brother Pradeep. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Kritika. Very good morning to all. So this is part 2 of what Brother Varun has taken up last week. So we have been reading this book, Ancient Wisdom, since 6 weeks. And chapter 4 is about mental plane. So in last week in Brother Varun's session, I'm sure you might have all seen this picture, which I think you can see on the screen, which depicts or in various colors, which shows the various bodies or the various planes surrounding a physical body. And then you might have also seen uh, this table where you can see the name of the plane, the principle, the active principle in each plane, and the vehicle that carries this. So at the physical plane or at the physical world, so we have Stula Sharira, which is the physical body, the Linga Sharira, which is in English called etheric double, and the astral plane, which surrounds this physical body immediately, is called Kama Sharira as the astral body. And then after the astral plane, there is the next covering uh, around this astral plane, which is called mental plane. And the mental plane has two parts, the higher manas and the lower manas. So the lower manas is mental body. The higher manas, we can call it as casual body. And again, after that, we have this in the Buddhic plane, we have Buddhi Sharira. And then after that is the Nirvanic plane, which we call as Atman. So we have been studying these every planes and every principles, every Sharira, starting from the physical. And now we are in the mental plane, and once part one has already been done. I'm sure Brother Varun has explained, or you might have discussed in detail about the principle, the active principle in the mental plane. But today, what we are going to discuss is the three subdivisions of the mental plane, or the three kinds of the mental plane we will discuss in detail. The three highest subdivisions of the mental plane are the habit of the thinker himself, and he dwells on one or other of these according to the stages of his evolution. The vast majority live on the lowest level in various stages of evolution. A comparatively few of the highly intellectual dwell on the second level. So, a mental plane, the lower manas and the higher manas, there are two subdivisions. But what we are talking now is about the lower manas, the mental body, or the mental plane, not about the higher manas. So we will talk about the higher manas in later, but what we are talking now is about the lower manas. And you can also see the lower manas is also called as Rupa manas or Rupa Sharira, and the higher manas is called as Arupa or the formless, Arupa Sharira, Arupa manas. So what we're talking now is the lower manas, the Rupa Sharira or the Rupa manas. So the lower manas, the lower mental plane, is divided into three highest subdivisions. So it's again further divided into three divisions. And a normal ordinary person, an undeveloped person, usually they live in the lowest subdivision, whereas a little comparatively higher intellectual, comparatively a little learned person, they dwell in the second level. So at the stage now reached by the thinker, he is fully conscious of his surroundings. So that is in the second level where he has learned a little bit about these bodies and about these ancient wisdom. He dwells in the second level of the lower manas. So at this stage, he is fully conscious of his surroundings and is in possession of the memory of his past. So at the second level itself, he can possess the memory of the past. He knows the bodies he is wearing through which he is contacting the lower planes, and he is able to influence and guide them to a great extent. He sees the difficulties, the obstacles. They are approaching the results of past careless living, and he sets himself to pour into them energies by which they may be better equipped for their task. So, an ordinary undeveloped person lives in the lowest subdivision of these lower manas. At that stage, he is not aware, he is not conscious of his surroundings, he is not conscious of his own lower bodies, that is, the astral body, the physical body. But when he reaches a second level, at this stage, he is very much conscious of his surroundings. He knows his bodies, he knows how to control his physical and astral bodies. He knows how to pump in energy to these lower bodies so that in order to behave in a particular pattern, because he remembers the past at the second level, and he remembers the mistakes or the errors that he has committed in the past, and then accordingly he modifies his lower planes or the lower sharira, the physical and the astral planes.
Pradeep ji,
Sorry.
Pradeep ji, just I think they are talking about the three higher subdivisions here, and the lowest of the three, the first, second, third. I'm getting little.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to explain.
Not the lowest of the mental plane. These are the like 1, 2, 3, the top three highest, and they're describing about those three.
Exactly, top three.
Yeah.
But what we are speaking is about the lower manas, because we will go to the casual body in the later.
No big. Okay. Okay, we'll see.
So, anyways, we'll continue on that. On the third, the highest level of the upper region of the mental plane, dwell the egos of the masters and initiates their chelas, the thinkers, having here a preponderance of the matter of this region in their bodies. From this world of suppressed mental forces, the masters carry on their gracious and beneficent work for humanity. So this is the third subdivision, where once the thinker starts living in this third level, the highest level, so then this is the upper region of the mental plane, where the egos of the masters and the initiates, they dwell. And then from here, they not only can control their own bodies, their own lower planes, but they can even they can send or they can give energies to their chelas or the followers. And then from this world of suppressed mental forces, the masters carry on their gracious and beneficent work for humanity. So at this third level, that is the highest level of the manas, it is from here that a beneficent work for humanity can be carried out. Every force there generated rays out in myriad directions, and the noblest, purest souls catch most readily these helpful influences. A discovery flashes into the mind of the patient searcher into nature's secrets. A new melody entrances the ear of a great musician. The answer to a long studied problem illumines the intellect of a lofty philosopher. A new energy of hope and love suffuses the heart of an unwearied philanthropist. So this is explaining about the third highest level of the mental plane. So where at the third level, a completely learned or a person who has reached almost to the level of the masters or the initiates, and they dwell at this third level. And from here, a great work, beneficent work for the humanity can be carried out. So these are the three in the highest subdivisions of the mental plane. And now what we are going to see is the according to the stage of evolution. So according to the stages of evolution uh, reached by the man will be the type of mental body he forms on his way to become again incarnate. And we may study, as we did with the astral body, the respective mental bodies of three types of men. So let's see the mental bodies of three types of man according to the stages of evolution. That is an undeveloped man, an average man, and a spiritually advanced man. So first, coming to the underdeveloped man, means who is still in the early stages of evolution. Underdevelopment is not here. It doesn't mean about the physical body. It's not the underdevelopment of the physical body or at the young stages of in each life. But here, underdevelopment man means someone who is at the early stages of evolution. So in the undeveloped man, the mental body is but little perceptible, a small amount of unorganized mental matter, chiefly from the lowest subdivision of the plane. So it's still not completely formed. It still shares matter from the lowest subdivisions of the plane. And vibrating feebly by the astral storms raised by the contacts with material objects through the sense organs. So the mental body of the underdeveloped man is still consists basically of the matter of the lowest plane or the lowest subdivision of the mental plane. And then it vibrates feebly by the astral storms. What is this astral storms? So I think while studying the astral body, you might have known that uh, for every reaction in the physical world by our senses, there is a kind of vibration that is inharmonious or in reaction that is raised in the astral plane. So these create astral storms. So that means our desires, our commitments, our attachments, or anything that vibrates in the astral plane, so they create astral storms. So the manas or the mental plane of the underdeveloped man still vibrates with the astral storms. So it still have much connection with the astral body. And then vibrate feebly by the astral storms raised by the contact with material objects through the sense organs. So the astral storms are created in association with the material objects in the physical world through the sense organs. So how do we communicate with the physical world? We communicate with the physical world through our sense organs. And through these sense organs, whenever there is a communication with the material object, there is a kind of feeling or something that arises within us. So those are the astral storms, and the mental plane here in the underdeveloped man still have connection with this astral plane, and hence it vibrates along with the astral storms. Except when stimulated by these astral vibrations, it remains almost quiescent, and even under their impulses, its response are sluggish. So basically what it's trying to explain here is the mental plane of an underdeveloped man, or who is still in the early stages of evolution, is still dependent on the astral plane or the astral body. So whatever reactions that happens in the astral body or the vibrations that happen, it is just it just get transferred or in harmonized with the mental plane and the vibrations. And then coming to the next, an average man. In the average man, the mental body is much increased in size, shows a certain amount of organization, and contains a fair proportion of matter drawn from the second, third, and fourth subdivisions of the mental plane. So, in the average man, the mental body is much increased in size. So, the size of the mental body can be seen increased, shows a certain amount of organization. So, you can see a certain amount of organization, and contains a fair proportion of matter drawn from the second, third, and fourth subdivisions of the mental plane. So the matter that consists in the mental plane of an average man, it is drawn from the second, third, and fourth subdivisions of the mental plane. Every vibration set up in the mental body causes a change in its constituents, throwing out of it in the part affected the matter that cannot vibrate sympathetically, and replacing it by suitable material drawn from the practically illimitable store around. So every vibration set up in the mental body causes a change in its constituents, because it's in an average man, due to an experience, due to his mistakes, due to whatever he has learned. So there is a kind of change that happens. So whenever there is something that is no more changing, or whenever there is something that is still stuck to the old, those things or that particular vibration or the matter has to be replaced by what has been learned new. So hence, in an average man, a mental body is found to be organized a bit. A harmonious and proportionate all-round development is the object to be sought. So a harmonious, so it means the mental plane here has to be in harmonious with that of the lower planes. It should not be something that is different, because here a process of learning starts, a process of accumulation of memory starts, a process of learning from the past mistakes and then changing accordingly. So this process has already started at this stage. He's an average man. So therefore, here the mental plane has to be in harmonious with that of that surrounds it, or which is in association with it. So therefore, an harmonious and proportionate all-round development is the object to be sought at this stage. And for this are needed a calm self-analysis. So therefore, at this stage, when there has to be some changes made, when there has to be some organization to be made, it needs a calmness. It needs a calm self-analysis at this stage, and a definite direction of means to ends. So it also needs an analysis and a direction, and a particular goal has to be set right here, what is right, to know what is right, what is wrong, and to make changes accordingly in this in the mental plane. And next comes a spiritually advanced man. So in a spiritually advanced man, from this body, all the coarser combinations have been eliminated, so that the objects of the senses no longer find in it or in the astral body connected with it materials that respond sympathetically to their vibrations. So in this spiritually advanced man, here a complete connection between the mental plane and the astral body is lost, and all the matter that is associated or which can vibrate according to the senses of the lower body is also lost. So here a finer matter is being accumulated, and then all the coarser combinations which belong to the astral plane or the senses, they are slowly eliminated. It contains only the finer combinations belong to each of the four subdivisions of the lower mental world. So here, so I'm again stressing that the four divisions of the lower mental world. So we need to keep in mind that we are all talking about the lower mind still. So we haven't touched the higher manas or the rupa manas yet. The arupa manas yet. So the lower mind itself has the four subdivisions, and the spiritually advanced man, the mental plane of the spiritually advanced man consists of all the finer combinations, all the finer matter from all these four subdivisions of the lower mental world. And of these, again, the materials of the third and the fourth subplanes very much predominates in its composition over the materials of the second and first. So, as I said, there are four subdivisions. The finer materials or the finer matter of all the four subdivisions forms the mental plane of a spiritually advanced man. However, it's predominated by the composition of the third and the fourth subdivision, making it responsive to all the higher workings of the intellect. So here the mental plane, the material, so the matter that constitutes this mental plane, it makes a responsive or make it more responsive to the higher workings of the intellectual, to the delicate contacts of the higher arts. So it also has to make a delicate contact with the higher thinking, higher art, or a creative thinking, to all the pure thrills of the loftier emotions. Such a body is rapidly becoming ready to reproduce every impulse from the thinker, which is capable of expression on the lower subdivisions of the mental plane. It is growing into a perfect instrument for activities in this lower mental world. So, such a body, a spiritually advanced man, the mental body consists of all the material or the matter that can very delicately, very delicately can vibrate with the higher thinking, higher intellectual, and then which is capable of expressing, which can express its own thought onto the lower subdivisions or the lower bodies. So far, can you hear me, Kritika?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me, Kritika?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Hello? So was I audible all this time?
Yes, sir.
I'm so sorry. I'm not very good at this screen sharing, so I'm not able to know what's happening.
No, you
So
are
we finished
audible.
this we finished this spiritually advanced man. So far everything clear for the participants? Hello.
If anybody is having any doubt, he or she can share the question on the chat box.
Okay. So Shikharji was asking about there was some confusion with the subdivisions, what I was speaking in the beginning. So I mentioned to him that these subdivisions, whatever, or what we speak in the beginning, or the subdivision, what we are still speaking is about the lower manas. But the higher manas, which is called as the causal body, we will deal with it in the next part. So I guess so far people could follow what I was talking about about the lower manas. And we gave three examples or three kinds of mental plane, and which was an undeveloped man, an average man, and a spiritually advanced man. And we spoke about the mental planes of these three kinds of human bodies. And now we will talk about the higher manas, which can also be called as the causal body. So let us now pass into the formless divisions of the mental plane. So this is the arupa manas, the formless divisions of the mental plane. The region which is man's true home during the cycle of his reincarnation, into which he is born, a baby soul, an infant ego, an embryonic individuality, when he begins his purely human evolution. So the higher manas now is called as arupa manas. It's because it's a formless division, and this can also be called as the causal body. So we have the physical plane, the stula sharira, linga sharira, and then we have the astral plane, kama sharira, and then in mano sharira or manas, we have the lower manas and the higher manas, and the higher manas is called as the causal body. So all the three bodies below this causal body, these are the three bodies which keep on changing from every birth. But then the thinker or the self goes back to the causal body in every cycle of the evolution or the rebirth. And hence, this is called as the home, the true home of the man, where he goes back to this body, to this stage at every cycle of the reincarnation. Formed of the matter of the three highest subdivisions of the mental plane. It is exquisitely fine, a film of rarest subtlety, even at its first inception, and as it develops, it becomes a radiant object of supernal glory and beauty, the shining one, as it has been aptly named. So here, what is the causal body made up of? As we spoke about the lower manas in the previous part, where we saw that all the three kinds of humans, or the mental plane was made up of different kinds of material from each subdivision. So here, in the causal body, the matter which consists the causal body is from the three highest subdivisions of the mental plane. What we were speaking in the beginning, the four subdivisions, the three highest subdivisions of the mental plane, the matter from these three higher subdivisions forms the causal body, but not the lower subdivisions. Its technical name is the causal body because there are gathered up within it the results of all experiences, and these act as causes, molding future lives. It is the only permanent one among the bodies used during incarnation. The mental, astral, and physical bodies being reconstituted for each fresh life. I hope this point is very clear for everyone. So the causal body is made up of matter from the three highest subdivisions of the mental plane. Similarly, how you saw in the lower form, the lower manas, where the matter comes from the four subdivisions, and here only the three subdivisions constitute, or the matter from these three subdivisions constitute the causal body. First thing, and the second thing is it can accumulate all the previous memories. It can accumulate the previous it can accumulate the past, and then it's the only permanent form, or it's the only permanent body for the self. And all other lower bodies, the lower manas, the astral, and the physical, only these three keeps changing or reconstituted for every rebirth. So this is a permanent body, or which grows along with the evolution, and then which will not be changed in every reincarnation, and which cannot be shed. So it's a permanent body for a self. This is the first permanent body for a self. There are more permanent bodies in the higher stages, which you will learn in future. The outline of this ego, the thinker, is oval in shape, and hence H.P. Blavatsky speaks of this body of Manas, which endures throughout all his incarnations, as the auric egg. So the outline of this ego. So this, now again there is a term called ego. So at this level, at the casual body level, this term can be used as ego or the thinker. So at this stage, the self can be called as ego or the thinker, and the outline, the shape of this is in oval shape, like an egg, and hence H.P. Blavatsky calls this body, the casual body, as an auric egg. So it forms as an aura surrounding surrounding all other bodies, and since it is in oval shape, it is called as an auric egg. So here you can see again the casual body, the shape of the casual body of an undeveloped, developed, and highly developed man. So these are the three shapes, or the three kinds of man, or the bodies, and you can see the shape of the auric egg. So here, one more thing that we need to know is that the Stula Sharira, which is the dense body, Linga Sharira, which is called the etheric double, the Kama Sharira is the astral body. And then in our ancient text, we also use these terms, and hence, in not to have much confusion, we can know about this, that the physical body, the dense body, is called the Annamaya Kosha, and the etheric double is called the Pranamaya Kosha. Whereas both the astral and the mental body, they are termed as Manomaya Kosha, and the casual body is the one which is termed as Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then the Buddhic body, which is much higher, is called Anandamaya Kosha. So Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. These are the terms that have been used in the ancient text, which we can remember. However, here Manomaya Kosha means the astral body and the lower manas, together called Manomaya Kosha, and the casual body is termed as Vijnanamaya Kosha. Now, human evolution is the evolution of the thinker. He takes on bodies on the lower mental and astral and the physical planes, wears then through earthly, astral, lower mental life, dropping them successively at the regular stages of this life cycle as he passes from world to world, but ever storing up within himself the fruits he has gathered by their use on each plane. So this is very important to understand, that here the thinker means at the casual body, the ego or the thinker, or the auric egg means the casual body. So at this stage, this is the particular form. The casual body is the particular form which takes up various bodies for every reincarnation. The lower mental, astral, and physical bodies. A new lower mental, astral, and physical bodies are taken up, and then it takes birth in the physical world. And then as it passes on, as it go back after the death in the physical plane, it sheds the physical body, and then it sheds the astral body, and then it sheds the lower mental body, and then finally reach the casual body. So from here, there is no more shedding, because shedding is only about the three lower bodies in each reincarnation. So at this stage, what happens? It accumulates all the memories. It accumulates all the thing that he has learned from the previous life. So at every reincarnation, at every life, things that are being learned has been accumulated in the casual body. And then again, for the next rebirth or the next regeneration, a new forms of lower bodies are prepared and then sent into the physical world. The growth of the casual body itself, as said, is very slow. for it can vibrate only in answer to impulses. So since it doesn't keep shedding, so there is no new body that has to be formed for every rebirth. So the growth, the casual body grows from birth to birth, from one reincarnation to the other reincarnation, and hence the growth of this casual body is slow. It's it forms as an answer to the impulses from the lower bodies in each reincarnation. It can vibrate only in answer to impulses that can be expressed in the very subtle matter of which it is composed, thus weaving them into the texture of its being. So, whenever a subtle vibration is formed in the lower bodies, and and this casual body can answer to these impulses, and then whenever it answers to these impulses, it weaves them into the texture. It weaves them into its memory. Hence, the passions, which play so large a part in the early stages of human evolution, cannot directly affect its growth. So, our passions that are expressed very vividly, very strongly in the astral plane and the physical plane. So, they are not very subtle. They are very strong. They are very aggressive. Those vibrations will not affect the growth of this casual body. As the thinker develops, thinker here again means at this stage, the casual body stage. As the thinker develops, he becomes more and more conscious of his own inherent powers and also of the workings of his energies on the lower planes. So as the casual body develops, as he learns from every rebirth, as the accumulation of whatever has been learned is weaved into the texture or the form of the casual body, it becomes more and more conscious of his own inherent powers. The casual body becomes more and more conscious of its own powers and conscious also of the workings of his energies on the lower planes. So he becomes aware of his energy on the lower planes of the bodies which those energies have drawn around him. He at last begins to try to influence them. So once the casual body accumulates enough memory or grows to one point, it becomes aware of its energies and it also becomes aware of its capacity to control the lower body. And then it starts influencing the lower bodies, using his memory of the past to guide his will. And these impressions we call conscience when they deal with morals, and flashes of intuition when they enlighten the intellect. So how can we be like for example, we use the terms conscience or a flash of intuition. Something flashes into our mind when we are thinking something of a problem. Suddenly an idea comes in and that solves all the problems. Sometimes when we are doing something bad, uh, there is some guilty that appears inside us, and that we call as conscience. So what are these? So these are nothing but the functioning of the casual body, because the casual body is developed to certain stage and it becomes aware of its powers. It becomes aware of its capacity to control the lower bodies. So whenever at the physical plane or of the astral plane there is something going wrong, it can interfere in the form of a flash of intuition or a guilty feeling or a conscience or as something that a voice that comes out of you and then which tells you that what you're doing is wrong. So at that stage means it is the functioning of the casual body. It is not like the sixth sense. The sixth sense is something, a word which is very vaguely used. It's not a sixth sense. Sixth sense can be something which comes more from your inner feeling, which you haven't expressed. But the casual body is something beyond sixth sense. Casual body is something that you have learned from all your past life, and then what has been stored, and then which is more of uh, uh, more of an an inner intuition or the conscience, and then which interferes with your astral body and which will not allow you to go in a wrong path. So it is something more of sixth sense. It is not exactly sixth sense. When these impressions are continuous enough to be normal, we speak of their aggregate as genius. The higher evolution of the thinker is marked by his increasing control over his lower vehicles, by their increasing susceptibility to his influence, and their increasing contributions to growth. Those who would deliberately aid in this evolution may do so by a careful training of the lower mind and of the moral character by steady and well-directed effort. So when these impressions becomes continuous, when the impression of the causal body over the lower bodies, when they become a continuous, when it becomes a habit, when it becomes throughout the life, and then that leads to an aggregate of feeling, and then we call it as a genius. We call him as genius. The higher evolution of the thinker is marked by his increasing control over his lower vehicles. So as the causal body increases its control over the lower bodies, then we can say that the man has reached to the stage of higher evolution, and their increasing contributions to growth. So as more and more the causal body, it controls over the lower bodies, it can have hold on them, and then its contribution to the growth of the lower bodies will also increase. Means the causal body can also contribute to the growth of these lower bodies. So those who would deliberately aid in this evolution may do so by a careful training of the lower mind and of the moral character. So if you have to help yourself to make this causal body more aware of itself and then to develop more and have a control over the lower bodies, then you can carefully train your lower manas and the lower bodies so that the conscious level is raised at this causal body level. In these uncognate ways, all may actively cooperate in their own higher evolution, each step forward making the succeeding steps more rapid. No effort, not even the smallest, is lost, but is followed by its full effect, and every contribution gathered and handed inwards is stored in the treasure house of the causal body for future use. Thus, evolution, however slow and halting, is yet ever onwards, and the divine life ever unfolding is every soul slowly subdues all things to itself. And therefore in this evolution, this cooperation of the causal body with that of the lower body is a continuous process. So the learning is also a continuous process. At every step something is being learned. So every step you move forward, there is nothing called going back in the evolution. Every step teaches you something, and then that is stored in the lesson is stored, the good thing is stored in the causal body. And at every stages, as the causal body grows more and more, it starts controlling your lower bodies, and then it starts contributing to the development of your lower bodies. And hence in this evolution, even though it is very slow, it keeps on moving forward. And then thus evolution, however slow and halting, is yet ever onwards. So it keeps moving, it is never going back. And the divine life ever unfolding in every soul. So in every soul, this causal body is slowly unfolding itself. Slowly it subdues all things to itself. So it subdues all other things, all the actions of the lower bodies, and then it starts unfolding and develops a consciousness that becomes much aware of itself in the evolution. So you will see the evolution, reincarnation, about all these things and how the bodies keep changing in every incarnation in the future chapters. So I hope here you understood much about the three highest subdivisions of the mental plane, and then the lower manas and the higher manas. The lower manas takes the matter from the four subdivisions, whereas the higher manas takes the matter from the top 3 subdivisions. And then the functioning of the lower manas is much in relation with that of the astral plane. However, the higher manas is a permanent body, is a casual body. So it is the one where every time the self goes back from every reincarnation, and then as it develops more, it accumulates all the good things that it has learned from every life to life, and then it starts unfolding, and then it starts controlling over the lower bodies and keeps us moving ahead in the evolution. I hope these 3 important points are clear to you. So I open the session. I stop sharing the screen and open the session for discussion. Yes.
Thank you, Brother Pradeep. So let's immediately start the question and answer session. Okay, we have questions from last meeting. I'll share. There were 2 questions last time, Brother Pradeep.
Yes, yes.
Why is mental plane or thought so important to study?
Sorry, I'm not able to hear. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes, yes. Why
There is
is
some construction
no problem.
started here. Yeah.
Why is mental plane or thought so important to study? I'll repeat again. Why is mental plane or thought so important to study?
Well, mental plane and thoughts are important, are as important as any aspect of theosophy to study. Well, we study everything, not only this. There is nothing called this is important and that is not important. Everything is important. We study from, we need to know ourselves at the physical level, physical bodies, and then we study about the astral plane, and then we study about the mental plane. In future, you will study about reincarnation, karma, and you'll also study about the other planes, the buddhic, the atma, and all these things. Why it is important to study all these things? I think if you go back to the introduction part, you will know why it is important to study ancient wisdom. This is all ancient wisdom. So this is the actual real philosophy which has been tried to teach to human beings from time being through various teachers. So this is the basic of every religion. And this is the basis of every life. So once we know about these things, it will be more helpful for us to mold ourselves. And of course, as I said just now, evolution is one direction. It keeps going. There is nothing called going back in evolution. Every soul, every self, it keeps learning from life to life, and then it keeps moving. There is no doubt. However, learning all these things is very important because it will help us to learn more fast, probably more to go more fast in evolution, or to develop ourselves in a right way. So instead of doing 100 wrong things and doing one right thing, after knowing all these things, maybe we may reduce the proportion, like we may do 10 wrong things and one right thing. Maybe that is in a very simplified manner, but to help ourselves to learn more and more, to learn fast, to develop our each body, or to develop ourselves in the evolution. I think it is important to study all these things. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Pradeep. Actually, this question was of Brother Shikhar. So, I mean, if he could come on camera and tell us that.
No, Brother Shikhar is not there. He
Okay.
has left for another meeting.
Okay, so there is one more question asked by Brother Taral. What is the correct thinking process? Do not think negative or think positive in reference of planes.
Well, I think this question is more about the thought forms, which was covered in the first part, I think. Anyways, before talking about the mental plane, the divisions, subdivisions, and two kinds of mental plane, the lower manas and the higher manas, I think Varun might have discussed in detail about the thought forms. Well, to answer this question, what is correct? To not to think negatively or to think positively, I think it has to be both. The functioning of the causal body, the higher manas on the lower bodies, is in both the directions. To give proper intuition, to give proper guidance to the lower bodies. At the same time, to also prevent the wrongdoings, the negatives, or any negative functioning of the lower body. So now when we talk about these in this perspective, to think positively means to draw the energy from the causal body, the positive things that is being stored is called as thinking positive. And not to think negative means not to allow the lower bodies to have its own say or its own functioning, not to allow the lower bodies to act according to their passions. Yeah, in the beginning we talked about passion. These passions are nothing but they are the passions of the lower bodies. So they act according to their passions, according to their vibrations, and then not to allow them to have much control can be called as not to think negative. So therefore, it's both. It's two faces of a same coin. It is to draw the energy from the higher manas, is to think positive, and to have complete control on the lower bodies is not to think negative. So it's both. Yes, Sauralina ji, you want to ask something?
Yes, when Kritika asked this question, no, not to think negative or to think positive. So Pranchi is also with me. So she immediately asked me, what do you think? What should you do? I said, I will think positive. Then, some examples came to my mind. So I thought I should share. If any younger person is sitting here, can get it quickly. See, basically, there's a theory. I had read it somewhere in the book, The Secret, and I have prominently used it as an example in many of our training sessions in terms of positive thinking. See, basically, when I want to go somewhere and I do not want to be late, I'll say, I do not want to be late. There's one way of saying that, I do not want to be late. And the very thing can be converted to, I want to be on time. The meaning is same. I do not want to be late and I want to be on time. Meaning is very same. But the more and more I will keep saying to my brain, hey, I don't want to be late. I don't want to be late. Eventually, I will be late. Everybody can experiment it, because that word late will be so prominent in my thought, feeling, emotion. So it will prepare me towards that objective, late. But the moment I start saying to myself, I want to be on time, that on time will start working. It has some scientific connotation, or maybe we can, use it as a practice. Similarly, if I keep on saying to me, I don't want to fight. The more you say yourself, I don't want to argue, I don't want to fight, you will end up arguing. But the moment you say, I want to remain calm, I want to remain quiet, I want to remain peaceful, you will say that peaceful, that calm, that quietness, the words on which you are focusing will start working. There is a magic on the words. So thoughts have magic. The moment so you have to choose whether it is a positive word or the no part of every positive is negative, right? Even the no part of every negative is positive. So it is up to us. So no negative will create some negativity. Rather, positive will bring on more positive frequencies. That's what a thought process came to my mind to share.
That's true. Actually, when we think that, okay, I have my class, I don't want to be late, then everything which is in the process gets late. I mean, the lift will not come. You will not get an auto rickshaw, and everything will be late. That is true. Okay, so anybody else? Why are there only 9 people?
I think I suggested in the last time, winter is coming, so probably we should find a different slot. See, if 7:30 itself is still not very comfortable for many people to join the meeting, then we should find a more not early. No, there is no point in taking it to early timing, but maybe probably Saturdays we should think, or Sunday evening. I think Sunday evening is packed up. Maybe Saturday evening we are still, there is some time, so that more and more people can join. We should
Talk to
again have
individual.
sorry.
We'll also talk to people individually to understand.
Yes, yes.
And then take a call.
If someone is good in making a questionnaire on the Google Forms, because I don't know how to do those things.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Make a Google form of various slots, like Saturday, starting from Saturday 5 p.m. Slot or 6 p.m. slot. Make 3 or 4 slots for Saturday evening and Sunday morning to evening. And then if you ask people to click,
like a survey.
yeah, every spot, whichever they are comfortable. And then we can see maximum which spot has been selected. Probably we should do that, because there are many people in our group, but if the participants are less, it means it is either clashing with some other meeting, or the early morning schedule is still not.
We can close this meeting today. I mean, then we can create that form and discussion.
Oh, yeah, it's being recorded.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay, fine.
Okay, so there are only 7 left. So let's proceed towards the end.
Yeah. You can close the meeting.
Okay. So let's sit in meditation for a minute. Om Sarve Ve Sukhine Santu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Paschantu, Ma Kaschit Dukh Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And let's at least close the recording.
Yeah. Thank you, Kritika. Thank you so much. So, see you again.
Suvlina Auntie.
Yeah, we can end the session today. Thank you all for joining.